Provost for Institutional Research Assessment and Planning at the University of California, Irvine. She's also a distinguished professor of psychology, medicine, and public health with decades of research into the long-term psychological and physical effects of stress. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Listen, Doctor, we're hearing all these accounts from people on the ground, many Venezuelans having to basically carry out work with their bare hands of digging through the rubble, hoping to find their loved ones that have been missing for days. I mean, obviously that has to come with a deep emotional trauma. So can you just speak to the invisible wounds in the aftermath of Venezuela's earthquakes?
Yes, catastrophes like the earthquake in Venezuela and earthquakes that have occurred all over the world are incredibly devastating for people's livelihood, as you indicate. Many people lose a loved one, lose homes, are injured, and the psychological consequences of these kinds of tragedies are really profound. And what you're describing of people searching for any sign of life amongst ruins is just heartbreaking. And I think that on top of everything else, individuals who have lost a loved one or have a missing loved one are at greatest risk for psychological problems over time.
Professor, how likely is it that Venezuelans who have really struggled to get health care even before this disaster can actually get access to psychological support? And if they can't, at least not right now, in the immediate aftermath, what options would they have?
Well, this is a very common situation in countries that have lost so many people. If you think about Turkey and Syria in 2023, Chile in 2010, where in Indonesia, massive earthquakes have destroyed the infrastructure, the medical system. I think that it's really important to recognize that in the immediate aftermath, as you say, people are mostly concerned about either finding their loved ones or burying their loved ones if possible, or attending to their own injuries. And people need shelter, warmth, food. But in a very short period of time, the overwhelming nature of the disaster is likely to have serious psychological consequences. But as you say, getting mental health care in the immediate aftermath or even over a few months later is really very difficult. I think that we can hope that there are international organizations that can assist. Other countries can come in and assist. That's happened in other circumstances like this. But I think also people are going to have to rely on their own loved ones, their own social network. They may need to seek out assistance through the unusual sources, not the typical kinds of sources like going to a mental health care professional. I think that you find often that people band together. Sometimes school systems, school districts will provide services for children. And I think that we can hope that there will be assistance that will come in from outside the country.
Yeah, one of the most moving images I've seen just today alone was of a father, a Venezuelan father, who was digging through the rubble trying to find members of his family. And then a U.S., or at least somebody from the United States that had been deployed there to assist in recovery, essentially embracing that father. And you can see that there's at least a very brief moment of peace amid so much anguish. And then, of course, a question of how long people will likely struggle with this if they don't have access to, a way of venting some of their frustrations in some cases, or what they're experiencing.
Yes, I think these kinds of tragedies sadly last decades and for the rest of people's lives. People don't recover sort of as if the events didn't occur at all, we see over time that these kinds of tragedies can play out in many ways over the course of people's lives. That's not to say that everybody is going to be incapacitated. I don't want to imply that at all. There will be enormous variability in how people respond. But I think we have to recognize that the long-term impacts of tragedies like this are quite profound.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand some UN resources are hopefully arriving there in the region to help specifically with this kind of need. It's often overlooked when there's so much happening in the immediate aftermath. Roxane Cohen Silver, thank you so much for staying up with us. We know this is important, an important conversation to have.
Thank you so much again for inviting me.
Of course. Well, search efforts do continue across Venezuela, and aid groups, they are now on the ground. They're providing assistance to those affected. For more information about how you can help the victims of the earthquake, please go to cnn.com/impact, or you can scan that QR code there on your lower screen that will eventually direct you to some of the resources where you can provide some help to the ongoing efforts there. We do want to get